Hello and welcome to Millennium Sports World. Today we will take you on a tour from local sports to international sports including MMA, golf, hockey, tennis, NFL, NHL, international soccer, African sports news and more. So let's explore the sports world. Josh Parison has been forced out of his fight against Chase Sherman at UFC Vegas 64. The veteran heavyweight gave notice via his Instagram account with his management team, also confirming to MMA Fighting that he will be unable to compete on Saturday night. One of the worst days of my life, Parison wrote. I unfortunately will not be fighting tonight. I woke up at 1:07 a.m. this morning with my heart beating out of my chest and soaked in sweat. I tried to relax over the next 2 hours, but I was going in and out of chest pain, cold sweats, nausea, and lightheadedness. I decided to go to the ER. They were able to get rid of my nausea and chest pain, but my palpitations had gotten worse. In over 50 fights, I have never pulled or been pulled from one. I am devastating for myself, everyone that helped me this camp, the UFC, the fans, and my opponent. The Ultimate Fighter and Contender Series veteran was looking to build on a knockout win over Alan Baudot in his most recent appearance in the UFC in June. Overall, Parison has gone 2-2 in the UFC since joining the roster, but due to his medical emergency, he will have to wait until a later date to compete again. Holger Rune took his stellar late-season form to another level on Saturday at the Rolex Paris Masters, where the next-gen ATP Den snapped Felix Auger-Aliassime 16-match winning streak with a 6-4, 6-2 victory to reach his maiden ATP Masters 1000 final. Rune took control early in a meeting between two of the in-form players on the ATP Tour, using his aggressive ground strokes to dictate play wherever possible and heap pressure on the Auger-Aliassime serve. Both players were competing for a spot in their fourth consecutive ATP Tour final, but the 19-year-old Rune converted 3 of 8 breakpoints to wrap a comprehensive 88-minute win. Having moved past Hubert Hurkacz, Andrei Rublev, Carlos Alcaraz, and Auger-Aliassime in his past 4 matches in Paris, Rune had aimed for 5 top 10 victories in as many days in Sunday's championship match. His opponent will be 6-time Paris champion Novak Djokovic or Stefanos Tsitsipas, with a win for Rune set to lift the 19-year-old into the top 10 of the Paperstone ATP rankings for the first time on Monday. Saturday's semi-final was the second meeting between Rune and Auger-Aliassime in the space of 6 days, following the latter's straight sets triumph in the Basel final on Sunday. Yet the Canadian could not match Rune's intensity or quality in Paris as the Dane convincingly halted Auger-Aliassime's unbeaten run. Ross Chastain skyrocketed to motorsports infamy for wall riding his way into NASCAR's championship race with a video game style move that has overshadowed the final and his fellow title contenders. With that comes a ton of pressure on the 8th-generation Florida watermelon farmer and journeyman NASCAR driver who once took a side gig driving a motor home to races just to earn extra cash. This year, his first with second-year team Trackhouse Racing has been the breakout the 29-year-old has long been chasing. Chastain's decision to slam his Chevrolet into the Martinsville Speedway wall and ride it into the 4th and final playoff spot just might have made him the fan favorite in Sunday's winner-take-all final at Phoenix Raceway. In his 151st career Cup start, Chastain will race for his first championship. There are nerves and there is anxiety and there is fear of failure. How cool is it that I'm getting to experience this, he said. In the moment, it's not pleasant, the nerves. I wish they would go away. The field is stacked. Christopher Bell has been red hot with 2 walk-off wins in a pair of playoff elimination races to advance to his first championship. Bell is the only Toyota driver in the field. Nike has suspended its relationship with Kyrie Irving and cancelled its plans to release his next signature shoe, the latest chapter in the ongoing fallout since the Brooklyn Nets guard tweeted a link to a film containing anti-Semitic material. The shoe giant announced Friday night that it will halt its relationship with Irving, who has been suspended by the Nets for what the team called a repeated failure to unequivocally say he has no anti-Semitic beliefs. The Nets made that move Thursday, banning Irving without pay for at least 5 games, and a day later Nike made its decision. Those actions followed widespread criticism from, among many others, the Anti-Defamation League and NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. At Nike, we believe there is no place for hate speech and we condemn any form of anti-Semitism, the Beaverton, Oregon-based company said. To that end, we have made the decision to suspend our relationship with Kyrie Irving, effective immediately, and will no longer launch the Kyrie 8. Irving has had a signature line with Nike since 2014. Russell Henley is playing so well that even some of his conservative shots wound up close enough for easy birdies. He had another 8 under 63 and opened a 3-shot lead Friday in the Worldwide Technology Championship at Mayakoba. Henry ran off 3 straight birdies early in his round at El Camaleon, and he kept off another string of 3 birdies with a bold tee shot to a backpin on the par 3 8th. That one might have been an accident. I wasn't trying to hit it back there on number 8. It just went a little further than I wanted, Henley said. But obviously very happy with the result. Henley was at 16 under 126, one short of his career best for the opening 36 holes on the PGA Tour. He shot 125 at the Sony Open in Hawaii to start the year, a tournament that ended with Hideki Matsuyama beating him in a playoff. Henley also had a 3-shot lead at the Sony Open. This time, Henley leads over Will Gordon and Sam Ryder, each looking for their first PGA Tour title. Henley is a 3-time winner, his last victory coming more than 5 years ago in the 2017 Houston Open. Sonny Bill Williams has suffered the first loss of his professional boxing career, going down to MMA legend Mark Hunt in a big upset. Williams went into the fight with a 9-0 record, having last beaten Barry Hall in March, while Hunt's last outing was lost to Paul Gallen in 2020. Williams is also 11 years younger. However, that counted for nothing as Hunt claimed a TKO win over his fellow Kiwi, coming back after Williams was on top in the early rounds with some devastating blows in the fourth. Sorry about that, he said to Williams after the fight. The cross-court superstar had started the fight well and appeared the better boxer before both Williams and Hunt opened the shoulders and started swinging hard in the third round. Hunt is 48 years old, but he still possesses immense power, as he showed in the wild fourth round. He knocked Williams' mouthguard out with a brutal right hand before dropping him with a couple of hooks. Hunt confirmed that he would be retiring on top, thanking everyone across Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific Islands, and noting that it was sweet to retire in his adopted home of Australia. Joking that he didn't like training at the best of times, Hunt said after 31 years in combat, he deserves a rest, and it will be much deserved after finishing on a perfect note. Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge was voted Player of the Year and the American League Outstanding Player by fellow Major Leaguers in the annual Players' Choice Awards from the Major League Baseball Players Association. Judge set an American League record with 62 homers, breaking the previous mark of 61 set by New York's Roger Maris in 1961. St. Louis first baseman Paul Goldschmidt was voted National League Outstanding Player, the union said Friday. New York Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor, a member of the union's 8-man executive subcommittee that was heavily involved in labor negotiations, was selected Marvin Miller Man of the Year, given to a player whose leadership inspires others. Former pitcher Steve Rogers, a longtime special assistant on the union's staff, was given the Kurt Foot Award for advancement of players' rights and devotion to the union. Houston's Justin Verlander was selected the AL Outstanding Pitcher and the AL Comeback Player. Miami's Sandy Alcantara, the NL Outstanding Pitcher, and Atlanta outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr., the NL Comeback Player. Seattle outfielder Julio Rodriguez was AL Outstanding Rookie, and Atlanta pitcher Spencer Strider the NL Outstanding Rookie. Michael Thomas' latest trip to injury reserve will likely end his season, marking another disappointing finish to a once promising campaign. For Thomas, the news stings more than usual. After an exciting start that included 3 touchdown catches, Thomas is facing a familiar conclusion with another recovery and rehabilitation process ahead of him. Saints teammate Alvin Kamara shares Thomas' pain. The downside of Thomas' placement on IR, beyond the fact he is again out of commission, is how it affects public perception of him. 3 years ago, Thomas was the unquestioned top receiver in the NFL. He had set the single-season receptions record, and he had recorded at least 1,100 receiving yards in each of his first 4 seasons. Then the wheels fell off, almost literally. Thomas has dealt with multiple lower leg issues since 2019, costing him 26 games between 2020 and 2021. By the time the 2022 regular season comes to a close, that total will reach 40. Atlantic Division opponents meet when the Tampa Bay Lightning take on the Buffalo Sabres. Tampa Bay has a 2-0-0 record in Atlantic Division games and a 6-4-1 record overall. The Lightning have a 3-1-0 record in games decided by 1 goal. Buffalo has a 2-2-0 record in Atlantic Division play and a 7-4-0 record overall. The Sabres have a 4-2-0 record in games they convert at least 1 power play. Saturday's game is the 4th time these teams meet this season. The Lightning won the previous meeting 5-0. Sebastian Aho had 3 goals and an assist to help the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Buffalo Sabres 5-3 win on Friday night for their 4th straight win. Martin Necas had a goal and 2 assists. Jesperi Kotkaniemi also scored, and Andrei Svechnikov and Teuvo Teravainen each had 2 assists for the Hurricanes. Antti Ranta made 22 saves. Jacob Brisson, Victor Olofsson and Rasmus Dahlin scored for the Sabres, who had won 3 straight. Jack Quinn had 2 assists and Craig Anderson finished with 28 saves. The Sabres have won just once against the Hurricanes in the last 11 meetings. The Columbus Blue Jackets will try to break a 4-game losing streak when they play the Colorado Avalanche. Columbus had a 37-38-7 record overall and a 21-15-5 record at home last season. The Blue Jackets had a 39-goal differential last season, scoring 258 goals while allowing 297. Colorado has a 3-3-0 record in road games and a 5-4-1 record overall. The Avalanche have allowed 30 goals while scoring 34 for a +4 scoring differential. Saturday's game was the 4th meeting between these teams this season. The Avalanche won 6-3 in the previous matchup. Mikko Rantanen led the Avalanche with 3 goals. England fullback Ben Chilwell will miss the World Cup after a scan confirmed a significant hamstring injury. The Chelsea defender, who was likely fighting for the left-back spot with Luke Shaw, was injured in the team's 2-1 midweek win over Dinamo Zagreb in the Champions League. The Premier League club said Saturday that a scan revealed a significant injury that will prevent Chilwell from playing at the Qatar tournament. The 25-year-old Chilwell expressed his disappointment in a Twitter post after the diagnosis. "Following my ACL injury, I worked so hard to make sure I was ready for the World Cup. It has always been a dream of mine," he wrote. "Unfortunately, this won't be possible following my scan results. I will do all I can to get back playing for Chelsea ASAP. Thanks for the messages of support." Chilwell had returned to action in May after missing most of last season. England's first group game is against Iran on November 21st. FIFA's top officials have urged the 32 teams preparing for the most political World Cup in the modern era to focus on the game in Qatar and avoid handing out lessons in morality. A letter urging teams to let football take center stage was sent by FIFA President Gianni Infantino and Secretary General Fatma Samoura ahead of intense media focus on coaches and players when World Cup squads are announced next week. Please let's now focus on the football, Infantino and Samoura wrote, asking the 32 soccer federations to not allow football to be dragged into every ideological or political battle that exists. Qatar being picked in 2010 as World Cup host sparked scrutiny on its treatment of low-paid migrant workers needed to build projects costing tens of billions of dollars and its laws criminalizing same-sex relationships. FIFA's comments in defense of Qatar follows more strident targeting of critics in recent weeks by public officials, including the Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani as the November 20 kickoff nears. The Emir 2 weeks ago denounced fabrications and double standards in what he has called an unprecedented campaign against a World Cup host nation. 8 European teams have committed to their captains wearing heart-shaped armbands in breach of FIFA rules to support an anti-discrimination campaign launched in the Netherlands, and Australia players took part in a video airing concerns about Qatar's human rights record. Nigeria's representative at this year's CAF Women's Champions League, Bayelsa Queens, recorded their first win of the competition on Thursday with a commanding 2-0 win over TP Mazembe women's team. It was an instant response from the Prosperity Girls to their opening day 2-1 defeat against the defending champions, Mamelodi Sundowns, as they came out smoking against the DR Congo side. Bayelsa Queens take the lead inside opening 4th minute when Miracle Joseph converted from the spot after spotted an handball in the box. 20 minutes later, the Nigerian champions doubled there with a perfect finish from experienced Chinyere Igboamalu. They held on to their comfortable lead till end of the first half, but expectations of increasing the tally on resumption. It wasn't meant to be as Mazembe upped their game and were more stronger, especially in defense, warding off subsequent threats from Bayelsa Queens as they settled for a more respectable scoreline. The 2004 African champions have never made it out of the group stage in their last 5 World Cup finals appearances. With the 2022 World Cup fast approaching, the Tunisian squad has ramped up efforts despite uncertainty, after the Youth and Sports Minister threatened to dissolve federal offices. FIFA warned the National Football Federation that the team could be booted out of the Qatar tournament if there was any evidence of government interference in the organization. Setting this matter aside, the captain of the Eagles of Carthage is ready to take on Group B. Tunisia can only be an outsider in a group comprising of defending champions France, dark horses Denmark, and a spirited Australian side. The 2004 African champions wish to make history and reach knockout stage for the first time. That's all in today's sports world. Keep watching Millennium Sports World for latest sports updates. Millennium TV USA and Millennium News 24 network is transmitted and available to be watched free for all at TVs such as Sony, Samsung, LG, Roku TV, Amazon TV and Apple TV, and also in all European countries and Australia available with Sky Network, Worldwide Jago TV, Radiant IPTV, Worldwide Jago BD Network and Horizon Satellite globally. Stay connected with us for all types of informative and entertainment program. Thank you.